we are on the third time when the stroke hit her. I am excited once more to greet Muruti. I was just waiting for him.
Wow.
Thobela.
Thobela,
I
I must start by saying a Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I'm actually seeing you for the first time.
Yeah, so you have to say it, even to the family of Radio.
You are even wearing red and white. Happy
Wow.
Valentine's too. Wow.
Ooh, Muruti. No, finish
Yes.
them up. Little birthday.
Yeah,
At the
you know.
birthdays, and the
Has your
Merry
birthday
Christmas.
passed already?
No.
Oh yeah, thank God.
Are you
Thank
good,
God.
Muruti?
I'm okay. I'm all right. It's really been a good year so far. I really want to think this year it's promising to be a financially liberated year.
Oh
for all of us.
my,
For all of
that
us.
is like really awesome. Muruti, why do you say that? Somebody would ask a question.
I would say, first of all, it's 5 years since COVID hit?
Uh-huh.
Because, COVID.
It's 4 because it wasn't. Oh, it's 5. You're
Okay,
right.
yes, yeah.
You're
5
right.
years since
Yes.
COVID hit. And so I think people can agree that most of them are at a place financially where
They're stable.
they're a bit stable or out of the rate, out of deficits, and they can start putting together plans financially that can really work.
And the budget. Hey.
And the budget, right?
Hey. Wait, Nyana Muruti, until the budget speech.
Yeah, until the budget speech comes, which was disrupted and all of that.
Yeah,
yes.
and I hope that Muruti will come through after the budget speech as well.
Yeah.
Just like the tech umbud, our tech specialists, they're waiting.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping Muruti will also come and speech.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And also the fact that Sibongile, we are in Feb, right? This
Yeah.
is the last week of Feb.
Yeah.
We at least still have 10 months to go before the year is over.
Yeah.
So you can still, transform your financial status. You can
There's still hope.
There's still hope. There's still something you can do about your finances.
Yeah.
And just like I like saying it, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. So you still have 10 months more to go to put a financial plan together that will just change your financial life.
That is like awesome. So I told the family that Muruti, Lebepe, is coming through with steps to financial freedom.
Yes.
But before, what's happening? The exciting news. Let's start there. For somebody who's listening for the first time.
Yes.
Bareke author. Hey, okay. Who's Pastor Lebepe?
Yes. Wow. I like saying that I wear a number of caps,
Yeah.
right? Or hats, as they say. Yeah, but I would say I am a financial fitness coach. I am the author of this amazing book called Life After Death. I am a pastor. I am a father. I am a husband, and I am an environmental engineer by profession. So you see those different heads.
And you're a living testimony that we can come out of debts.
We are. I hope some people have been following Heart to Heart can remember the story I shared about how I came out of debts in excess of 1 million. I am that testimony, really. Yeah, you can come out of debts.
It's possible.
Yeah, if you are depressed, you can smile again. If you can't afford things, you can afford them.
Yeah.
You can live the life of your dream. It's possible.
Yeah.
It's really
it's doable. It's doable.
Yeah.
Now, Muruti, what's happening? I know somewhere at the end of, is it this month? Next month?
Oh.
Yeah. Something great
A
is
person
happening.
like you should not forget.
Muruti.
Because you're going to be there. You're going to be there. So I'm going to say to everybody, Sibongile is going to be there. If you've only had Sibongile and you want to see her, you better be at our School of Money. Yeah. We are hosting a School of Money seminar and live jazz festival. It's going to be happening at the Stekinoke Cinema in Arcadia, or Sterland Cinema in Arcadia, Pretoria. And it's going to be happening end of March. It's going to be on the 29th. It's a Saturday. It's payday weekend. So there's no reason why anybody should not be there. So on the 29th of March, at Sterland Cinema, Arcadia, Pretoria, we're going to be starting at 4 p.m. and then we will be there until 8 p.m. And yeah, Sibongile will be there.
How much are the tickets?
The tickets are selling for 500 rands only per person. That 500 includes your entrance. They'll give you popcorns, drinks, and we will also give you dinner that night. Can you imagine?
Yeah,
500
so loaded.
include entrance, dinner, free popcorns, free soft drinks. And we are just going to have an amazing time enjoying worship as well. There's going to be a lot of worship going on. I love music, and I know our listeners do as well. Jazz, those who are tuned to African rhythms will have an opportunity. You know? And Sibongile will also be there.
I will be there. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure, Moruti, that is like really awesome. So if I'd like to come through,
Yeah.
How do I do that?
Yes, you can send us a WhatsApp text. It's very easy. You send us a WhatsApp text to a number that I will just give out shortly. It's 071 352 4581. I'm going to repeat 071 352 4581. So you send a WhatsApp text with the word School of Money. Then we will send you all the details. And then you can book yourself a ticket. And
Wow.
voila, we'll see you there.
So I can come. If I got questions, will I be getting some answers on that day?
The beautiful thing is I actually love what we do here. And the difference between now and then, it's people are only hearing us talk the way
Now
we
they will
do
be
now.
seeing.
Now they will get to see us having this dialogue. You know,
Yes.
you will be asking questions, they will be asking questions, and I will be answering those questions. And you will hear people's amazing and some of them sad stories, but sad stories with a happy ending. And you will hear all of these things happening during that time. And you have to just be in your smart casual, bring your partner, a friend, a colleague, a husband, wife, a girlfriend, boyfriend, bring them, and let's just become financially literate. It's just a nice and fun way of learning about your finances and how to achieve financial freedom.
So, family, the number is 071 352 4581. Slowly, Sibongile. 071 352 4581, and you just write School of Money, and you will receive a response. Do remember the tickets are flying like hotcakes, so make sure that you get one. Just only 500 rands for your own freedom. So I was talking to somebody who's really significant, very close in my life last week, and he was talking about people who do not even budget. And then the next thing, the month ends and, I want the right word, but he was like, you don't know what to do because, it's bad. He was talking about some people around him anyway. And he says it's because people don't sit down and write.
They don't write, yes.
People don't sit down and write.
That's what budgeting is really all about. It's financial literacy. It's pen, paper, and calculator.
Okay.
Yeah, you really have to write things down. Pen, paper, and calculator. When you come that day to the School of Money, you better have all those things.
The calculator, the pen.
The calculator, the pen, and the paper. You got to write some of these things there when we'll be coming.
Yeah. And then, Moruti, when we're talking about then taking it now to financial freedom, what exactly is that?
Okay, I define financial freedom in two ways. Number one, to be financially free means to be debt-free. Yeah, debts are the weapon of wealth destruction. If there's anything that makes all of us financially uncomfortable is the fact that we have debts. If you don't believe it, print out your bank statement and look at how much you pay in a form of consumer debts every month. Let me give a radical, easy example. If you are paying a car right now and you are paying school fees, and you are paying a mortgage, and you have a cell phone contract that you are paying that phone for.
Sure.
Minus all of that, clothing maybe. If you were to take all of that out, you minus if you had no school fees to pay, you had no credit card to pay, you had no mortgage to pay, you had no car installment to pay, how rich will you be?
Yeah, a
What would you
lot.
do with your
Your
life?
salary, with your income.
What would you do with your life? You know, Sibongile, I was talking to someone that I met in the parking lot, and we were both looking for a school for our little ones.
Yes.
So I'm looking for a high school.
Yeah.
My little one is getting ready to go to high school next year.
Yeah, yeah.
And this person said to me, you know, I've got financial problems. You cannot believe it. And I said, oh, you met the right person. Here's the book.
Yes.
And she continues to tell me that, you know, I'm earning 30,000 a month. I'm really not going to cope. And immediately, just by looking at her in that 5 minutes, because we were at that school, I quickly understood what she meant.
Okay.
We were at a school where the school fees is going to be about 10,000 a month.
So 10,000 is gone
from her 30,000. Let's start doing that calculator thing.
I'm already calculating.
So that school is going to cost you about 10. Just on school fees, we haven't spoken about, you know,
the
uniform,
books and everything
books,
else,
stationery, textbooks. You know, this year, I don't know, we just came out of January, and I was shocked to the core that I spent over 15,000 on stationery and textbooks. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just that. So she's going to go to a school where her child will pay 10,000. I looked at the car that she's driving, and I know, okay, this
4,000, 6,000.
You know, well, if a car is 500,000,
yeah,
you paying around 10,000 installment.
So already
that excludes your, you know, for a car, how you really calculate or work out your installment per month is for every 100,000 your installment is 2,000.
So like 20,000 is out from that 30,000. We left with 10,000.
Yeah, it's 10,000, right? And then in that 10,000, you have to factor in where they stay, whether they are renting or they have a mortgage. And she's a single parent. And now, obviously, if she's staying in a house worth $1 million or more, the equivalent of that bond will be more than 10,000. So basically, the 30,000 rent is gone. We have not spoken about fuel, petrol to work and to school, lunch boxes, and all of that. It is for that reason that, you know, people then immediately go and then get a credit card or get into personal loans because their salary is not enough to sort of accommodate their lifestyle. But guess what? If a person like that, if she was to go and get a credit card, I'm going to ask you, do you think she's making a life easier?
It's worse.
Not? It's worse because,
it's worse.
Okay, that credit card will maybe for the next 3 months make her.
But just for that short period, and afterwards
but by
it's a
the
strain.
time the repayments and the interest and the inflation starts, she's going to be in a far worse situation than she was at before. And then she stood there and said, but what do I do? This is the school that my child chose, and I can't let my child go to any other school. And I asked her and I said, what about your car? Can you downgrade this car? And she's like, oh, I'm not so sure about
I think both should be downgraded. Well, that's
and
just
I'm
me.
actually glad you said that because financial freedom also it's what we call your financial tolerance. How much can you tolerate in terms of what you just said now? Can you really tolerate downgrading, downscaling your life?
For my well-being? For my sanity?
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe you don't have friends that put you under so much pressure.
I don't take
when
any
you meet
pressure.
up with friends, Sibongile, you have those kind of friends that when you meet up with, you don't talk about where your kids go to school, and they don't get to ask you, but what's your car model again? What's the mileage on your car? And all of that. But there is pressure. What I'm saying is sometimes peer pressure
can put us where we are.
Yeah, it makes all of us hold on to a life we really cannot afford.
Sure. That is sad.
Yeah, and in a nutshell, that's what the beginning of financial freedom will be to become debt free.
Now, I need you to go back just a little bit to our last discussions. Now, remember there was a question on good and bad debts.
Yes.
Explain that, because one would say, but she has good debts.
Okay. I am of this firm belief because, you know, society has entered into such a chronic level with debts. You know, debts have become a chronic disease in financial society. So I'm at a point where I say there is no good debt whatsoever. Any debt, it's bad. It's just bad. And that has to be our general attitude towards debt. Someone would say, for example, I don't know how one will justify good debts, because for me, let's give an example of credit card debts, or on, let me give three main debts that people would say maybe this is not a bad debt. You would say a home loan or a bond. But Sibongile, let's look at this. How many years does it take you to pay back and to pay off a bond?
Yeah.
20 years.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
No.
No, not fair. Because if I can buy a
You're
1
not
million,
free for 20
but
years.
look at the system. The system says you can pay off a car in 7 years or 5 years. But you cannot pay off a house of the same value of that car in 5 or 7 years. The system says you have to pay it off in 20 years. And a lot of things can happen in 20 years. You can lose your job. You can have income loss due to retrenchments, income loss due to accidents, disability. A lot can happen. You can be retrenched at work and lose. So 20 years, it's long enough to get you into trouble. And some people say, but home loan is better than personal loan. All debts is bad debts. I just gave you the reason why I believe a bond is bad at first place, because 20 years to pay, really only 1 out of 10 people will pay off their bond in 20 years.
So what's the best? Buy land? Build?
Someone also said, well, good debt is get debt to start a business.
Okay.
I still say no. They say, oh, but it's a good debt because I'm not getting this debt to go buy myself a brand or a shoe brand or something.
But now you are working to pay back, isn't it?
But besides, you know what happens? Remember, I came from there. I can speak out of experience. One of the reasons why I had more than 1 million worth of debt is because I took over 350,000 as capital investment for a business venture. And guess what happened? I wasn't I thought I knew better. I thought I was experienced. But I came to realize that, I did not really do my SWOT analysis that well. So the business did not go as I thought it would go.
Because you don't know.
Ultimately, what happened is I lost both the business, and then I lost both the business and I lost the money. So one time I organized an event and I did my calculation. I thought I was gonna go home with over 300,000 from that event. But I actually went home with over 75,000 in deficit because people didn't show up in that event then. I'm talking 13 years ago, and all of that. It was a miscalculation. Things don't always turn out the way
you think
they do.
Yes.
And if you took personal loan to use it for business, imagine what happens when the business shut down and you still have that personal loan to pay plus interest. And because the business is not generating any income and you don't have any extra income, now you start defaulting. There's months you don't pay, and then you are handed over for administration. It becomes that. That's why I'm saying I'm waiting for somebody who can convince me which one is really a good debt.
Then
because
administration follows judgment.
Oh, before you know it, they are coming for you. They are attaching stuff. They are collecting things from your house. I just don't see any point where debts. In fact, saving money is better than going into debts. Really saving money. I said to the same lady that I was with at the parking lot, and I said, what is your financial plan on this education thing? I mean, the school fees is 10,000. How are you going to pay that out? She said, well, I'm a single mom, but I think I have it figured out. Well, I'll just put up an installment and then they deduct from my salary. I said, no, that's not a financial plan. I said, do you know the people who bring their kids to this kind of school don't pay month to month? And she had her eyes popped up looking at me. I said, no, that's not how we pay.
Do they do a once-off?
They do a once-off. And what they do is for 12 months, if, for example, you know that next year I'm taking my child to a school that pays 10,000 a month, from January to December, you are saving 10,000 every month, right? At the end of December, you have 120,000.
You have all of that.
And guess what? When these kind of people go to those schools, They don't ask for month-to-month invoice. They just say, give me the whole year's invoice, and they even get up to 20-25% discount because they are making a once-off payment. That's the financial plan. Not to say I'm going to do that's the consumer mindset. The consumer mindset is we are wired up to thinking that
you
I have to pay
every month,
every time I get paid. But you know what that has created? A cycle of struggling and dependency where some people are working in such toxic environment. They hate their job. They hate their boss. They hate the color of their office. They hate everything about their workplace. But they are forced to stay there because they are caught up in a cycle of, this consumer mindset that says, I have to live from hand to mouth. As I get paid, I pay someone else. But to break out of that and get your financial freedom that we are talking about, you have to have a savings plan. Save in advance and raise up the money a year before and then pay off stuff that way.
Moruti, let's take a break, and then when we come back, let's dig deeper because this is like really tough. And I think so many of us in South Africa are where we are not supposed to be, as according to Moruti, you're explaining things. Let me open the lines also for the family. If you'd like to ask questions whilst Moruti is still here, you can do so on 012-334-1322. It's 012-334-1322. Our WhatsApp line, 082-657-2729. Our SMS line, 37871.
Share our passion for life on 657 AM.
Zibandakanye nathi ekuguquleni impilo.
is Heart to Heart with Sibongile Mofokeng on Radio Pulpit. Heart to Heart.
Those are sounds coming there from Priestley. I am free. And today we're talking about financial freedom, simple steps towards financial freedom. And the song says totally free. The lines are open for family to can talk to us. I'm not alone. I'm with Pastor Lebepe. And do remember he is a financial fitness coach and an author. And he is dealing when it comes to finances, he specializes on that. So you can ask your questions on 01233413222, 01233413222. You can also send us a WhatsApp on 082-657-2729. We are live on Facebook. Hello to Elizabeth van der Westhuizen and to all family members. Danny Ursula, Andrew, hello. And you can also send us an SMS to 37871, 37871. Just to remember that your SMS will cost you R150. And so we are on simple steps to financial freedom with Muruti. But do remember that there is a School of Money that's coming on the 29th of March. If you want to be part of it, 071-352-4581 is the number that you can dial. Muruti, how do we then become free, totally free? The song says I'm totally free, but not all of us are totally free when it comes to our finances.
Yes, you know what? Just three things you need to. I actually call these 3 steps of wealth creation.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to be wealthy, if you want to have a lot of money at the end of the month, then a lot of month at the end of your money.
Can you start now?
Yeah. If you want to be that person where you have a lot of money at the end of the month, than to have a lot of months still waiting for you at the end of your money.
Yeah.
The 3 steps you need to follow to really be rich. And these are the 3 things that all wealthy people have done.
Okay.
And by the way, when we think millionaires, some people think millionaires are people who are lucky. But research shows that 95% of world-class millionaires are self-made, and most of them are first-generation millionaires. So they never really came...
they never depended on daddy.
No. It was not inheritance wealth.
Yeah.
It was not winning the lottery.
Yeah.
They were self-made.
Those who win, most of the times, they squander it.
They lose it all. And then, but these are 3 steps if you are going to start a journey of financial freedom. Number 1, be debt-free. And in my book, Life After Debts, I share how I eradicated debts of more than 1 million. And today I'm debt-free. I owe nobody nothing. And then the first thing is to be debt-free. My book, Life After Debts, shows you steps, what you need to do. Even if you are that person who say, I don't think it's going to work for me. These are tried and tested. They will work just for everybody. So once you are debt-free, the second step is what we call capital preservation.
Okay.
Capital preservation is to put money aside. That's the definition of the word savings. Sometimes we just use these big words, capital preservation, and you leave that financial class, red and confused. But capital preservation simply means to save money. Okay. And what is to save money? To save money means to put money aside. For a defined purpose. So you have to have a defined purpose. I always say to people, look at your trouser. How many pockets does your trouser have? Some of you would say I have 4 of them, 2 in the front, 2 at the back. And you also have to have money pockets as well. So, for example, I'll give this example. I have got what we call a holiday pocket. And this is where I save money to go on a holiday at the end of the year. So, and then I have got an education pocket. So that's where you put in money for your back to school fees. Did you see how frustrated a lot of people were in Jan? Where people say it's January, we are worried.
It's always the case.
Worry. That's why it's called January. We are worried financially.
Yeah.
But if you have 1, a holiday pocket, 2, an education pocket. 3, you can even have what we call, you can create a pocket that you use which we call an emergency fund, right? You can have an emergency fund. So an emergency fund, it's an alternative to having a credit card. So instead of having a credit card, you now have an emergency fund. So that means if there's an emergency that happens, I was driving one day, Sibongile, and a truck released from its tires a big rock on my front screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could hardly see what's next on the road. And you call the insurance and they send an assessor, or they say to you, send us pictures. They say, no, it's not in our terms and conditions. We're not going to cover up such a
Yeah, I've
scratch.
experienced that.
You gotta have to do it on your own.
I experienced
and
that.
all of a sudden you're thinking, oh God, where am I gonna get 7,000 rand to replace this screen? And I can't drive with this kind of car. It's an emergency. So having an emergency fund as one of your pockets or your savings pockets help you to not prematurely access your savings. Because, some people save money.
We run to it.
Then they go there and
for
liquidate or
anything.
deplete that savings, and you keep going back and forth.
Until it's gone.
But when you have an emergency fund,
Yeah.
it's a buffer that protects your savings. Instead of accessing your savings, then you go to that emergency fund, then you fix that screen. Or one day you might just realize when a traffic officer stops you that your license disc had
Has
actually
expired.
and all along you were not aware. It's
And
an
now it's
emergency.
in areas more than it was supposed to be. Yes.
So that's why I'm saying you have to get out of debt. Number 2, start developing a savings plan with all these multiple pockets.
Okay.
So I said the first pocket could be your
Holiday,
education,
emergency.
Then you have got a long-term one. Right? The long-term one, it's now your long-term savings. Long-term savings is anything from 5 years. You're going to put money for 5 years into that pocket without withdrawing. If everything from 5 to 10 up to so. That for me, I've put aside something like that for what we call tertiary education. The cost of private education in South Africa.
It's very good. It's as private as the private.
So imagine, Sibongile, how much was tuition fees when you were at varsity?
It's as good as the school looks,
and
Muruti.
how much is it going to be the day your children go to university?
Yeah.
And it's shocking. I even said it in my book that a lot of people say, well, I'll go for this government fund. But if you go and study that government fund, it says that if you have got a dual income or a household income of more than 40 to 50,000, you don't
qualify.
So that is to tell you are on your own.
All right. I know I want Muruti to get to the third step to wealth creation. But here's a question for Muruti. Hi, Sibongile and Muruti. I would like to ask, how does one get the discipline of saving and sticking to reason why you are saving, like that reason? I started saving for my daughter when she was 3 years old, and today she is 12 years, and I am at 0 because I always borrowed myself the savings, saying I will pay it back. My problem is that it always at the back of my mind that if mine is done, I have hers. I don't even want to mention the name of our family member.
I can relate to that story, but I guess when I was speaking about an emergency fund or an emergency pocket, she got part of her answer right there.
Yeah.
Because if you have an emergency fund, it then protects you from accessing that savings fund for your child. But again, what I will advise is don't have a PSA. A PSA is a pure savings account, which is an easy access savings account.
So you'll be penalized if you try to go in there.
Yes, but again, especially for her, she talks about saving for a 12-year old child.
Yeah.
And I guess this was supposed to be a long-term savings plan. So when you want to put up a long-term savings plan, you don't do it with a pure savings account or an easy access account. There's an option where you can go to the bank or a financial institution and actually open a long-term education plan. And it comes with capital preservation. They would ask you to put in 25 or 50,000.
Yeah.
And then each month they then deduct from your, and for you to access that funds, they just make it
impossible.
You have to explain yourself. You have to write emails and letters. There has to be resolutions. And when you do something like that and you are co-parenting, whether with your husband or whoever, you can actually agree that you can only access that if both of you agree and sign for those funds to be released.
Like a business.
Exactly. And that is, for me, it's a perfect way because it sort of complicates your access of the money that should not be accessed, because truth be told, we need money every single
day.
Every day you wake up,
and
there's a reason why
if
you
you
have to
can
spend
get
money.
it easier, Vele, you'll run there.
You'll run there. So if it's long-term savings, it's purpose-driven saving. Like, I want to pay my school fees. If I don't, and you always have to remind yourself why. Let me give people an example. I saved money like for the whole of last year, and you should have seen my smile in Jan.
Yeah.
When I, confidently walk into the stationery book.
Yeah, you just
and people
grab
are
and
complaining
pick.
and they're posting on WhatsApp that, we cannot believe the inflation. What a terrible president.
Yeah.
We blame it on everybody.
Yeah.
And because I've already prepared myself for that, it was not a problem. I could even spend that. I could even, pay off school fees for the whole year.
Wow.
And for me, it's my savings of the previous year. I have to stick to it. I have to religiously stick to it and not compromise it, because I always remind myself of the financial freedom it's going to afford me the next year.
Yeah.
Imagine if you have paid off your school fees for the entire year. Imagine if you saved money, for example, to pay off your car, and all of a sudden you have got no car installment and you have got no school fees to pay. You suddenly have more than 20,000 to save or invest every month. That is how people become rich. People become rich by eradicating their debts and consuming, and directing what others pay as debts to what they then pay themselves as savings or as investment. So the wealth game, it's a game between East and West. It's what the people in the East, which are people who struggle with finances, do differently from the people who are in the West. It's just how you spend your money. It's not so much about how much you're getting. I've seen people who get a lot of money. What you could think, this guy is really getting paid.
You're heavily indebted.
Heavily indebted and miserable. So it's just knowing what to do with your money. So once you can say, you know what, I want to pay off my car fast, and I'm not going to buy a new one. So the very same installment I used to pay on my car, I'm going to save it. And then you say, I'm going to look into my spending habits and see where in my spending habits can I actually direct an expense to a savings and use a year term of that savings to pay off capital debts. What makes us poor as Bongile is our capital debts. And what are capital debts? Car installment,
Mortgage.
bond, education. If you can pay off these three things, look at all the rich people. They don't pay bond, they don't pay cars, they don't pay education. They don't pay those things on a monthly basis. You literally find them sitting in restaurants every day and you wonder,
how do they do it?
How can you be sitting in this restaurant eating cake on the 9th of the month? And that's because they have eradicated capital debts. They don't have those debts.
Yeah.
So you look at a couple that you admire, and I met a couple in December. They've got 4 kids.
Yeah.
They told me the shock of my life. They said, every year we allow one of our 4 kids. In fact, all their children have got a 10.
Yeah.
So this one decides where they go. Each child has an opportunity to choose an international tour for their vacation.
Yeah.
And they have school vacation, and then they have festive vacations. 2 vacations a year as a family. So they told me, this one said we should go to Dubai. This one said we should go to New York. This one. And they pay that off easily. And when you ask them, how do you afford vacation? Soft life. Don't you guys worry about education? Don't you worry about the most important things of life? I mean, life is more serious than a vacation. They tell you, we have no serious things in our life. Because all those serious things have been paid off.
Yeah.
Our cars have been paid off. Our education has been paid off. Our houses.
Lord Jesus.
And that's exactly
Help us
what
to
you
get
need.
there.
Simple like that. Those are the 3 steps.
The family member says, thank you, Sibongile. Thank you, Buruti, for such teachings. We definitely work on the discipline. Really appreciate it. Muruti, we don't have time. What is the third one? Quickly.
The third one is you eradicate debt. 2, you save money. 3, you use your savings to invest. So saving and investing is not the same. Saving is putting money aside for a particular purpose. Investing is putting money away for a return. It's the ROIs, return on investment. So you then take money that you save, not from a credit card, from a savings pot.
Nice.
And then you put it in an investment that you know very well and you have studied for years. And be careful of people who say, put 50,000 now and next week we'll give you 200,000. No, that's not investment. That's a scam. So make sure that when you choose a investment vehicle, it's something that you have mastered and you know what you are doing, and you'll be rich. You'll be a millionaire. 3 simple steps to being a millionaire. I just gave that to you. Can I stand up, go and get paid?
Family, you cannot afford to miss the 29th of March at the Stekenikor. And Bona, it's happening, the School of Money. Come with your questions. Come with everything. Muruti will be there. Muruti, this shouldn't be just for now on the 29th, but we need
South African. Is this African?
No, we really need this. We really need this. And do remember the number 071 352 4581. 071 352 4581. We didn't appreciate the young man you are with today.
Wow, yes. He's the one that got me late this morning.
Oh my. So we shouldn't appreciate him.
Okay, no.
Okay, we appreciate him. Thank you for bringing Muruti.
Okay,
Muruti, thank you so much. So we are on again next week.
We are
continuing from where we are. Yes, bring the questions, my family. The lines will be opened from the time Muruti says hello. The lines will be open for you. But if you want to know more about the School of Money on the 29th of March, 071 352 4581. 071 352 4581. I believe it's time for us to come out of debts.
Yes.
657 Radio Pulpit News.